going to talk to you about a beautiful story in Sanskrit. Who does not like stories? From children to adults, everyone likes to hear stories. So, this is a very long and beautiful story which forms a gem in Sanskrit literature. The name of this story is Kadambari. What is this Kadambari? Before hearing this beautiful story, I will today like to elaborate on the author, a great mastermind who has written this wonderful story. The name of this poet is Banabhatta. Banabhatta was a poet from 7th century AD. So that means nearly 1300 years from now. At that time, he has written this story in chaste Sanskrit. Now, for understanding who was Banabhatta, we must know his biography. The most important characteristic of Sanskrit poets is that they do not write anything about themselves. So it is a trait of our culture that writing about oneself is not considered good. So as a part of being modest, the poets prefer not to say anything about themselves. So name any poet: Bhasa, Bharavi, Dandi, Kalidasa, Bharavi. No one has written anything about themselves. Whatever we understand, the information about them, we get them mostly from the external sources. But here is a great exception to this. Banabhatta surprisingly has written his complete account, his complete biography in his work called Harshacharitam. This is the first point which discriminates Banabhatta from all the other Sanskrit poets. He has written very much about himself. So why did he write about himself when the Sanskrit poets are so modest? This is because Harshacharita is an Akhyayika, and according to the norms of Akhyayika, the poet or the author who is writing this Akhyayika has to tell about his own biography in the first chapters of the text. Therefore, Banabhatta has written his biography in short in this Akhyayika. From that, we understand that Banabhatta's life was not less than a cinema. His life was completely full of different adventures. So let's learn about Banabhatta in short. Banabhatta was born in a very good, well-known Brahmin family. He traces his origin to Kubera, that is the treasurer of gods. His father was Chitrabhanu and his mother's name was Rajadevi. Unfortunately, when Banabhatta was very young, his mother passed away. So he was raised by his father and his paternal aunt. Again, things took a bad turn, and when Banabhatta was just 14 years old, his father also passed away. Now, when his father passed away, Banabhatta was completely devastated. He did not know what to do, and in all that depression, he was there in his house sitting like nothing for a week or so. He did not show his face to anyone. He was very much depressed. And after that, he ran away from house. He roamed from village to village. He went to different places. And he made friends from different strata of the society. Some of his friends are potters, some are actors, 2 of them are singers, 1 of them is also a harlot. So all these people became Banabhatta's friends. And how do we know this? Because Banabhatta himself has told the names of all his friends in his Harshacharita. So just imagine you being a friend of a great poet in making, and later on that poet writes your name in his work, and after 1300 years people are reading your name in that. It is such a marvelous thing. So we get the account of his friends, how he went everywhere. But after that, after some days roaming like this with different people, his viveka, his discerning power of intellect, pricked him, and that made him return back to his home. He came back, his paternal aunt was more than happy to have him back. So he was a very religious person, but in this teenage, he just got away from his actual path of life. But later on, he came back. He started learning his scriptures, Vedas, all the Vidyas. He learned everything that a Brahmin boy should learn. After that, he became more mature. Then he also got married, he had children. So he started living a good household life. Now, his poetic ability was so great that he became well known in different villages. So, he was actually a very intelligent person, and therefore his intellect got popularity. But there were also crooked minded people. They went to King Harshavardhana, who was the ruling king of that time, 7th century AD. They went to him and they poisoned his mind about Banabhatta by telling him that he is not a very good person. He has roamed with stray people, he has done bad jobs in his life. The king was not very pleased to hear this. So he sent a message to Banabhatta and called him to his capital. Banabhatta was at first hesitant, should I go to the king or not? But finally he decided that he must go, and he went to the king. He went in front of the king and very fearlessly he solved all the doubts, he cleared all the doubts in the mind of the king. The king was pleased with his ability of telling things, explaining his standpoint. The king became pleased with him. Later on, Banabhatta was appointed as the court poet of King Harshavardhana. And after that, the king requested Banabhatta to write his biography, write the biography of Harshavardhana, and make this biography popular, because when a poet writes the biography of a king, the king becomes immortal through that biography. Banabhatta accepted this, and this is how the Harshacharitam, that is the biography of Harshavardhana, was authored, penned down by Banabhatta. Banabhatta must have authored many more works in his lifetime, but unfortunately we do not get any of those. There is one work, a stotra called Chandi Shatakam, which is believed to be written by Banabhatta. Chandi Shatakam is 100 verses in the praise of goddess Chandi, that is goddess Parvati in the form of destroyer of demons. It is a very beautiful composition full of heroism and veerarasa. And the third work attributed to Banabhatta is Kadambari, the wonderful story of a girl called Kadambari. This is surely the masterpiece of Banabhatta, and it is believed that he wrote this in the last years of his life, because when he was almost through with his Kadambari, at the last point, unfortunately, Banabhatta became ill and he passed away before he could complete the work. But when Banabhatta understood that he will now die in a few days, he gave this work of completing his masterpiece to his son Pulindabhatta. And we must say that Pulindabhatta has done complete justice to the work of his father, because we do not understand from where Banabhatta has stopped and from where Pulindabhatta has started writing the end part of Kadambari. Both have merged so well that this Kadambari becomes one whole unit. Such were the father and son. Such was Bana and Pulinda. Now, what is this Kadambari? To tell in a nutshell, Kadambari is the love extending to 3 births. It is a love story of 3 births. Now, exactly what turns it takes, who has been born 3 times and who loves whom, for understanding all these things, we will have to wait for the next lecture. Because today I just got equipped with Banabhatta the great poet, the great author of Kadambari. Now, before ending this lecture, I would like to tell some praises of Banabhatta which have been written by other poets. So, in Prasanna Raghava, a play, there is a verse which describes the different poets as different limbs of the literature damsel. That is, the damsel in the form of literature, Kavita Kamini. So, different poets are described as different limbs of that damsel. In that it is said, Harsho Harsho Hridaya Vasatihi Panchabaanastu Banaha. Bana is the Panchabana, that is the Cupid, Madana, who resides in the heart of that literature damsel. Cupid, that is love, residing in the heart. This is the simile, this is the metaphor used for describing Banabhatta. This shows the esoteric nature of Banabhatta's works. Banabhatta's love is not explicit, it is not gaudy, it is very subtle in nature, and therefore it is compared to the love residing in the heart of the literature damsel. One other poet describes Banabhatta in his verse in this way: Hriday lagnena banena yan mandopi padakramaha bhavet kavikuranganam chapalam tatra karaya. A beautiful pun is used in this verse. Bana means arrow. Hriday lagnena banena. When an arrow is pierced in your heart, you cannot walk steps. You cannot walk when an arrow is pierced in your heart. But still, if you try to walk, if you try to take some steps, then that is nothing more than fickleness. It is only fickleness which is making you walk when you are being struck by an arrow. This is one meaning. The second meaning is that Bana means Banabhatta. When Banabhatta strikes the heart, you cannot take any padas. So pada is step and pada is also words. You cannot write words when Banabhatta strikes your heart. Still, if being a poet, you are trying to write something, then that is only out of fickleness and nothing more. This means that when Banabhatta's language is heard, all the other poets just fade away. And with Bana's language in your heart, you just cannot hear, you just cannot listen to the language, to the words of any other poet. This is the beauty of Banabhatta which has been described by our tradition. Let us hear about Kadambari, the masterpiece of Banabhatta, in the next lecture. I hope that you will come to this lecture and relish this Kadambari along with me, because it is said, Kadambari rasajnanam aharopina rochate. Those who relish the beauty of Kadambari, to them food is also nothing. They do not like food also. So much are they engrossed in Kadambari. So now I take your leave, and let us meet in the next lecture with this beautiful Kadambari, the beautiful story written by Banabhatta. Till then, and for now, thank you. Namo Namaha.